Hey movie buffs, I hope you're having a good day. So this trailer has been out for a while, but I thought I do need to talk about it because I've talked about Martin Scorsese a lot on the channel, reviewed a lot of his films. He's one of my favourite filmmakers and I'm very excited. So let's look at the Killers of the Flower Moon trailer. So the opening moment of course has Leonardo DiCaprio and Lily Gladstone. Lily Gladstone I'm very interested in seeing because a lot of you might not know she starred in two very acclaimed films, Walking Out and The Unknown Country. They're both great films, so she's a great actress who has some critically acclaimed stuff to her name. And immediately we get DiCaprio, what he always does, which is fully delving even physically into this character. He doesn't look like Leonardo DiCaprio in this opening moment. He doesn't speak like Leonardo DiCaprio. And that's what I love about him. That's why he's one of the greatest actors living today, because he delves into the character and he always understands the script and the ideas that the director's asking for him. He's a great fit for Martin Scorsese. Of course, the whole movie is about the famous Indian Assange murders, which is a terrible blemish on American history, and trust Martin Scorsese to tackle that story. It's so interesting. And Robert De Niro has been selected again for a Scorsese piece of work. This could be Scorsese's magnum opus of getting the best performances out of his actors, which is incredible when we're talking about people like DiCaprio and De Niro who have been doing fabulous performances their whole careers. Much like Martin Scorsese's other films, he's always doing films about greed, corruption, getting to the top in dishonest means, and the fall. He's really interested in that. It literally is a theme he's rarely gone away from, but he's obviously tackling it from a different direction now. But again, it's about someone getting in over their head, getting involved in terrible things, and it all coming crashing down around. He seems to be addicted to that idea and covering it. It's always this idea that the character starts off thinking it's not that bad, and then they get in over their head. It's like the justifications that humans can give to get involved in terrible things. Very beautiful shot in the field there, and I like the soundtrack of the trailer. Again, it's giving it that idea of the time period, of what was going on, of the kind of difference between the people who are trying to steal this oil and the people they're trying to steal it from. It is contrasting the difference. Nowadays we would like to break down the differences between us. This is showing the stark difference between the lifestyles, but it has to, because this is showing ultimately bad behavior, very bad behavior by the Americans. So it has to show contrast between the Americans and the Indians, honestly, and I respect Scorsese for doing that in the current climate. What an intriguing moment there of DiCaprio sitting there being dictated by De Niro, the old grizzled man who's telling him, no, it's our time. Kind of sitting on this white and black floor. Kind of reminds you of a chessboard in a way. What move will this character make? Which direction will he go? Will he make the right move? And obviously you've got this charismatic old man over him telling him, don't worry about it, it's all going to be fine.
This wealth should come to us. Their time is over.
So DiCaprio's character of Ernest Burkhart is of course getting romantically involved with Molly Kyle, played by Lily Gladstone, as I mentioned. So that obviously adds more complication to this. It's nice to see that this character of Ernest actually falls in love with someone from that race, but again, he has to deal with the fact that he's exploiting her people at the same time. It's just a complete mess, as a lot of Scorsese's stories are about characters just get themselves into a big old terrible mess. And the murders begin, and we see someone shot in the back, and we see a body lying there. Classic Scorsese. We see things start to break down, we see bodies start to be discovered. He's a master of these ticking time bomb movies where we know people are going to start getting picked off. I'm really impressed by the costumes and the design and the sets. It's so convincing, man. It's going to take you properly back to that time. Maybe more so than Scorsese's ever done. It's so immersive and so believable. It just feels like the actors were actually transported back to that time, because it just feels so realistic. Terrifying shot there of obviously Molly is building a life with Ernest, and we see Nero's character of William Hale scowling on from the sidelines with a threatening look. Very nice sweet moment there between Ernest and Molly, where he tells her he's right here, and then they're standing in a beautiful shot in a field coming together again. I almost feel like Ernest is going to be such a tragic character in this, because he's just going to be someone who's swept up in the allure of money, and he will be a bad person, but he will genuinely love Molly. And again, Scorsese's all about that. He's all about looking at the grey areas. He's all about looking at the nuances, and that's what makes his films so fascinating.
You got to take back control of your home.
Take back control, as William Hale says there, like almost as if William Hale's this charismatic preacher that he's listening to, but it's all about crime and getting into corruption. But he's telling him it's all right, you got to take back control, getting into his head. Jesse Plemons is playing a policeman who's looking into these murders, and Jesse Plemons was actually in the Breaking Bad movie, so you might know him from that.
I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
See what about him?
See who's doing it.
You're on the edge of your seat in that moment, because even though it's basic dialogue, you know that in the film, that dialogue is going to be elevated. This shot here, we see Ernest looking older, so perhaps in this film, it will skip forward to the time after these events, where he's sat there in a pool hall, maybe reminiscing. Or maybe he's not older in that moment, it's just going to show him now changing his look, changing his dress, trying to go undercover, incognito, or even trying to embody some of the values that have been installed to him by William Hale. I don't know, maybe he's trying to change. And he appears to have a walking stick, so I think that could indeed be either incognito or it's set in the future. We get a shot of Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser is of course on everyone's lips at the moment because of his astonishing performance in The Whale. He's back. Everyone is saying he's one of the greatest actors, and he's in a Scorsese movie, so he's where he needs to be. And he will be playing William S. Hamilton, who was an American politician and miner. Wow, what a haunting shot there. I feel like Robert De Niro is going to be haunting in this movie, guys. I feel like he's completely becoming William Hale. Like, the voice is completely different. The mannerisms are different. I have heard over the years people say a lot about De Niro that sometimes his voice is the same and there's not much difference in his performance. Even though he's fantastic, they say a lot of performances are similar. This isn't. He's completely changed in this, guys. He's giving the performance of a lifetime, it seems. That shot there, which of course looks like it's lit by fire, and we see a fire going on whilst people are raising their tools. It makes you feel, of course, the heat of the moment, but also the dread of the scene. And then, of course, that kind of weather. I don't know if that's weather or someone's doing that, but there's tore through the houses, and then we get DiCaprio walking through this wreckage.
Expecting a miracle to make all this go away. You know they don't happen anymore.
William Hale saying those words is unnerving at the end of this trailer. And these moments of DiCaprio sat there, whilst Robert De Niro is over him, those scenes are going to be intense as hell. Because he's just dictating over DiCaprio. And he's just like almost trying to present to himself that he's his friend, but he's just in his head the whole time. And that line, miracles don't happen anymore, such a sad line. It represents the loss of hope and the tragic nature of this film, and William Hale's kind of hands-off approach to it. This film looks haunting, it looks intense, it looks interesting, intriguing, romantic. Some of the best performances of these actors' career. It feels like a magnum opus for Scorsese. He's still delivering, guys. When you see a Scorsese trailer, doesn't matter how old the guy is getting, he is still makes you want to watch these films. These are films that are from the old school. These are films that used to dominate the box office. I'm glad he still hasn't sacrificed his art, and he's still pushing forward with films that actually make you think and stick with you forever. What do you guys think of this trailer? I absolutely adore it, to be honest. I'm a gigantic Martin Scorsese fan. I will put on the screen some of the videos I've done about the guy, some of his films, retrospectives, analysis, discussion. That's the sort of thing I do on this channel, breakdowns as well. Please subscribe to this channel, click on another video on the screen now as I mentioned. Let me know what you think of this trailer, and I will see you guys in the next video.